everyone. So, I wasn't going to bring astrology in here, but we have so many things going on this week, and for the next couple of weeks that it just seemed better to do it. So, welcome everyone, because this is all about forward movement, growth, and clarity, and you know I'm about that. So, if I can bring that to you, yep, that's what I'm doing. So, welcome everyone. My name is Cindy. I am the modern day spiritual advisor. I use multiple modalities, including tarot, astrology, hypnotherapy, and mediumship, spiritual advising to help you on your path, and now the author of my upcoming book series, Concepts Create Reality. So before I get on with the spread, we have like these big aspects again. I mean, we already had like this lunar and the solar eclipse, but we've got, because the planets are always moving, but we've got like Mars moving, we've got Mercury going direct, and we have this big full moon in Pisces. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. So let's talk about Mars movement. So Mars is going to move into Virgo, and it'll be there for about 6 weeks, which means wherever Mars was on your chart is now moving into a different house, right? So you're going to have movement, and you know, Mars is about energy, and Mars gives you that oomph. And I mean, a lot of people like to talk about Mars being war, but Mars is about giving you all that energy and that like oomph to do things, and that inspiration and that drive and that ambition to do things, right? So with it going into Virgo, it's going to make you like, because Virgo likes to organize and put their efforts into what's going to be, I don't know, worth their time, I guess. So, like, they're going to get gains out of it, right? So, with Mars going into Virgo, that's what you're going to be thinking, or that's the way you're going to be feeling. Like, I'm going to put effort in if it's worth it to me, if it's going to bring me gains. And that's okay. I mean, you should do that, right? Sometimes we need to do that. But it's going to be in different houses for different signs. So I'm going to go over that in each sign. But then we have Mercury going direct. And Mercury is going, it's moving to that, and it's going direct or station. So it'll be, so I'm sorry, Mars you'll feel for about 6 weeks. Mercury you're going to feel for about a week and a half, and it's going direct right on the point where we had the solar eclipse, right on that point. So it's like oomph. It's like a lot of all these things that have been delayed, and this miscommunication, and these things that you have been like working through, tweaking on. If you've been doing the work, like when it goes direct, it's just going to all of a sudden give you resolution to those things, right? So and it'll give you, so all these delays, it'll give you with your everyday that lower, I mean, I call it the conscious mind, but some people call it the lower mind. You know, there's the subconscious and the conscious mind. So all of that will start getting resolved. Those things, those things of where Mercury was like retrograde in your house, it's going to go direct, and those things are going to start resolving. Even if you've put a little work into it, if you've been tweaking, like I said, to do during retrograde, you're going to feel like the difference where all of a sudden things just start moving forward, right? And so you'll feel the effects of that for like a week and a half, week and a half. And then you have Mars going into, you know, the next house, which is probably going into the house where your Mercury was retrograde for each one of you, or each one of us. And so you're getting like all this forced forward movement, right? Now, the other thing too is this full moon in Pisces. So what does that mean? So Pisces already is like a very intuitive, psychic, hidden realm kind of thing, and with this full moon, which is new beginnings, right? It's also got Neptune in there. So the full moon is on Pisces, and then it has Neptune. So wherever that falls in your house, you're talking about like miracles and manifestations and magical stuff coming to you without any effort. Like, this stuff is already going to be given to you. This is on your path. So depending on which house it is, you should start like getting these things coming from nowhere, like coming from the air. Like all of a sudden you get these things, right? So it kind of depends on which house it falls in for you. But the Pisces is about connecting to your higher self and connecting to spirit, connecting to oneness. The only thing is When you get this full moon stuff, it has to come from your heart. Now, when I say your heart, there's a lot of people that love from their second chakra. Now, and I'm talking about your fourth chakra, for it to come from your fourth chakra. Now, I haven't talked a lot about chakras here, but, I'll do that on my website. The second chakra, when you love from the second chakra, that's about attachment and greed and fear and loss. Like when you're loving somebody from fear because you're afraid that you're going to lose them, or because when you love somebody because you're like, well, they're mine, that's attachment. That's second chakra love. I'm talking about anything that you do in this full moon. If it's from your fourth chakra, if it's from unconditional love, it is just going to blossom. It has to come from your heart if you get inspired to do these things, okay? Because if it comes from the other, then there's going to be ramifications. Unfortunately, this is how we decided to live on this earth, with duality, okay? So, but the great thing is this full moon is just going to be bringing all these things in different people's houses. So, on to I hope I explained everything for each sign. I'm going to do each house, and I'll explain the houses and then how you'll be able to receive them, and then we'll do the love area. So, see you in a minute. All right, my beautiful Taurians, let's get this started. I'm going to talk about the houses first that are going to be affected by those 3 planets. So they're going to be activated by that. That's what they call activated in astrology. So this full moon in Pisces is going to be in your 11th house. Now remember, the full moon in Pisces is like bringing gifts and positive energy without effort, because that's Pisces. Pisces can manifest without effort. They just know how to connect. They have the connection to the other worlds, the other realms, and to source, the higher self. And so they'll bring it through, because the full moon is in your 11th house. It'll be brought through your 11th house. So you'll have positive stuff coming on in your, or coming through in your 11th house. So what's the 11th house about? Well, the 11th house is, it's ruled by Aquarius. So obviously it's about humanity, the collective, alternative technologies and sciences, right? But it's about the socials too. So it's your, like, also, because it's the 11th house supports the 10th house. Okay, so it gives value to the 10th house. And the 10th house is about your persona in the public, and, being out in the public, and your stature, and your, it could be your career, your purpose. So the 10th house is about your purpose, and the 11th house gives value to your 10th house. It gives value to your purpose. So you can have things come through this house. If it's working with the collective, if it's working with society and the social, and like if your purpose is like online business, kind of like mine, where, I'm a YouTuber, right? So, if mine was in the 11th house, it would be coming through that like social stuff, through the society, right? Through the collective. So, this is, now see, with Pisces being in the full moon and in the 11th house, this stuff is brought to you because it was on your path. It's like going to fall in your lap. You don't have to make any effort. It was like supposed to be, it was the way that you wanted to have things experienced, right? So it's just going to come to you. So with that being said, that's the 11th house. You'll start getting surprises. So you could have money coming in. You could have possessions coming in, anything having to do with that social stuff, and your purpose. If it's connected to your purpose, it will come in that 11th house, okay? So you'll feel that for like 10 days, 2 weeks, and it'll start unfolding. And I know that you've had a rough time because your Mercury was retrograde in your 5th mainly, but it was kind of like 5th, 6th, I think. I think it was like right there. So some of you may have had it in the 5th, some of you may have had it in the 6th. So Mercury was retrograde. It went direct today. Well, I know I'm going to upload this on the 6th because I can't upload anymore tonight. But Mercury went direct on the 5th. So today's the 5th for me. So it went direct, and so it was in your 5th house. Isn't that funny? It's the 5th and the 5th house. So the 5th house is ruled by Leo, and the 5th house is about your creativity, love affairs, leisure. Your children are in here. You know, people from your past may have come during this retrograde. Um, so if you and it's your I create, so it's like that space that you create the things around you, your possessions, from your heart, right? And you Taurians know how to create from your heart, right? So your possessions could come through here, or any creative projects. So during Mercury retrograde, if you're working on these projects and working on your leisure and working on and really refining them, when it goes direct, when Mercury goes direct, you should start getting, those delays should stop. So if you were experiencing delays, the delays should stop, and you should start, it should start getting easier, and these things should start flowing again. Okay, so and that you'll feel for like, yeah, I would say a week and a half, 2 weeks, for Mercury being stationed and going direct, right? So not only that, you have Mars in your fifth house. Now, so Mercury going direct is going to bring resolutions, and it's going to bring results. So again, if you've been working on your creative stuff and really tweaking what was going on around you, then you should start receiving benefits. And I do see here that you have that 10 of coins. So you should start receiving these things. Your creative projects should start progressing. Now, with Mars going into your fifth house, it's going to give energy to this house. It's going to give energy to this area of your life. So it being the love affairs and the romance and all of that, it's like a time for you, and it's Mars. So if you're a woman, when you're dating, you're more apt to date a Mars, like wherever your Mars is, that's kind of what you're attracted to, right? So whatever sign your Mars is in your chart is mostly what you're attracted to. Now, if you're a man, it's your Venus. But for a male, it's Venus. For a female, it's Mars. So if you're a woman, this is a really good time to date because it's in your fifth house. It's your romance, it's your joy, it's your fun, it's your creativity, right? So this is a good time to begin to date. And with Mars being in there, it's just going to give you that energy. It's going to be nice. It's going to give you, and it's about sports too. So it's a time to like get back to exercising and doing that stuff too. And with Mars in there, you'll have the energy to do it. I know Taurians aren't too, they can, because I've seen a lot of Taurians that exercise a lot. So that's not necessarily so, but, maybe you were exercising, then you stopped for a while. Now would be the time to start again, because now Mars is in that house and it's going to give you energy to do it, and you'll keep doing it. So, so for those of you that start doing it again, just do it slowly. You don't have to like do it all at once. Just do it slowly. So either way, that's what's going to be going on in your fifth house. You should be receiving like these gifts from your 11th house, and that's like gifts that give value to your purpose. So it's going to help your purpose. It's going to help who you are. It's going to help these creative projects go forward. It's going to help your businesses and the possessions that you have in life. It's going to help all that move forward. Okay, so that being said, this is going to be your love forecast for September. I see that you guys are like, so this is your first position, and it's the 10 of Swords. So I see that you guys are overwhelmed, and I can kind of see that if Mercury was retrograde in your fifth house, because it just seemed like everything was getting delayed, right? Everything was going wrong. If you have children, or if you started a love life, or if you were creating something and it was getting delayed, I can see where you were just like pushing and pushing and pushing. It just wasn't going through. So for others of you, if this is specifically romance, because to me, love is that energy that moves through through every vibration, every frequency. Love can move through any of that. So it depends on where your love is as to what I'm talking about for you. But it can be more than one thing. So if I feel like in love, you sort of feel overwhelmed, like you can't move forward and you don't know what to do, and there's too many things that are just like you can't get it because it's just too overwhelming. It's just too many things. And for some of you, you may have been dating somebody or starting to date someone, and then it's just not going the way that you want. For some reason, you're feeling overwhelmed. But if you look at this card, even though this is a feeling, so it feels like it's too many things coming at you. But if you look at the end of these swords, you have light. So really, these are experiences that you're wanting to go through so that you can express and expand your soul, right? So, what Spirit says with this card is just take one at a time. Just do one thing at a time. Don't worry about the others. They'll wait. You do one thing, and then you do another thing, and then you do another thing. And that's kind of how you can get back into that space again. Okay? Now, their advice is the Eight of Cups. And the Eight of Cups is about having to abandon something because of a loss, because of it just wasn't working out. This is a big loss that you had to abandon and move forward. Or maybe somebody left, or maybe somebody did something and you had no choice. You had to keep going. And so what happens with the Eight of Cups is we have those times where we have trauma in our life and we still have to live. So we got to keep going. We got to go to work. We got to you got to keep the family up. We got to keep the friends up. Like, we got to keep going. And you're such a brave soldier. You're such a brave warrior. You're such a beautiful soul that you just kind of keep going. You're like, I don't have time to deal with that. I don't have time to think about it. And so what happens is you keep going, and then soon enough, that thing gets repressed. And before you know it, you're holding that energy, and you've even forgotten that you're holding that energy because it becomes part of you. And so with this advice, they're saying you're feeling like this because there are some decisions that you really, really have to make. You have to make these decisions. Now, when I say have to, I'm saying because of the guidance, because you have free will and you don't have to do anything you don't want to. You came here to make your own decisions. You came here to do it your own way, your perception. So this is just their guidance. They're saying for you to feel better, it's time to look at these things, make these decisions, and move forward. That's why you're feeling overwhelmed. And they're trying to help you to say, you wouldn't be overwhelmed if you went back to what this was down here that you had to abandon. Look at it, because when you look at it, once you're here and not here anymore, you get a different perception. Like, you're not so hurt anymore, and you're not so traumatized anymore. And then you can look at it with a different eye. And when you do, and you look at those things, and they're deep, it's not easy to do this. But when you do, you all of a sudden can be asking yourself these questions like, why did that person do that? Why did that happen to me in my life? Why did I do that to that person? What was it that I wanted to learn? What was it that I wanted to grow? And how have I grown since then? What have I learned? Where am I at? When you do that and you come to an understanding, all of a sudden that energy releases. And then you have more room in your energy field, in your physical energy field. Because I've been saying this to all the signs. In your higher self, in your connection to source, in your bigger self, right? Your higher self, you can hold unlimited amounts of energies that can flow through you. But in this physical resonance, on this earth, in this lifetime, there is only so much energy that can go through us. And that's like the world that you create around you. Because everything is energy. So your homes, your cars, your relationships, your situations, those are all energy that's running through you. It's part of you, right? So you have this old energy that's sitting there because it's been repressed or suppressed, and you don't even remember some of you, or you remember it, but you just, you kind of forget about it because you keep going. And they're saying when you go back to this space and you understand, then it will just release, and then your blessings can come in. Then those things can come in that you've been working towards. It's a better way to do it, okay? So that's their advice. Now, it looks like you came from the world. So there was a time in the recent past where things were going so well, and then they just kind of stopped, I feel like, for some of you. And you're wondering what the heck happened. Now, like, I'm feeling overwhelmed. And it's again, you figured it out and you moved past this, because this is the Wheel of Fortune. So some of you were in a really bad spot, and then you moved to this Wheel of Fortune, right? You moved to this other phase in life, and then that phase got too overwhelming, because that's what got you here, right? But what's happened is it's because of this. You gotta go back and look at this and release this, okay? But that's where you're at. You had to change your phase so that you could come to this part, so that you can get to this part and release this stuff. because you have so many other blessings that are trying to come to you. Okay. And this is in love. Like this could have to do with someone that you're not making a decision about. And it's because of this other loss that you've had, or this other trauma that you had. And so it's just kind of overwhelming. Some of you, I can feel like you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening again. And it's not. It kind of feels like it, but you know what to do already. You just have to look at it with a different eye. Okay. So in your fourth position, this is the first 2 weeks of September. I was almost going to say October. I don't know why. The first 2 weeks of September, you have the 10 of coins, or the 10 of pentacles. So this card is generational possessions, money, inheritances, other people's money, ancestry money. Okay. And ancestry money can be, if you believe in past lives or not, doesn't matter. It's part of your DNA, and we can look at the science about it if you want. I'll talk about it in the science way. In your DNA, from your past lineage, maybe the ancient ones came and experienced these things and grew their soul and put all these gifts in the reserve bank, right? So we put all these gifts in the reserve bank. And they didn't retrieve those gifts because it wasn't part of their path to retrieve and experience that part of it. Their part of it was just to give the gifts. Their part of it was to experience life in a different way. Your part may have been to receive the gifts, because maybe that's what you wanted to experience, right? And so when I talk about ancestry, it could come from like way, way, way back. It could come from just your DNA, from, your lineage that has given you this. Or it could come from this life, where your lineage has given you this. It could be inheritances. It could be, money given to you from others. It could be a lottery win. Could be inheritances. It could be, and these are possessions, so it's not necessarily just money. It could be cars. Could be a house. Could be, a statue. Could be something valuable. Whatever this is, it's going to come to you in the next 2 weeks. Now, if this is about romance, this is about really looking at this next step that you guys are taking. This is for long-time partnerships. So, long-time partnerships, in the next 2 weeks, you'll be looking at just how much you guys have been through together. Just how many coins you guys have put in the bank together. Just how much time and love and energy has been spent and put in your bank for the relationship between you two. So you'll be having that kind of time where you're building that and sort of retrieving from that and working in that. I hope that makes sense. So in your fifth position, from your higher self, I always ask your higher self, what is the one message they want to bring through to help you move forward in love? And you have the Faith card. So for some of you, they want you to know that this is coming about for you. This is like that organized or organization. And this to me could be like a big organization. If you're thinking about a job, if you're thinking about a business, it's a connection with being in that. For others of you, it's the ultimate commitment. This is a marriage card to me. This is like that card of institution, of marriage institution. So for some of you, they are saying, you are on this path to getting this. This is coming, and you'll be dealing with that in the month of September. For others of you, if your focus and your love has been in your family and your work and your businesses, it's in this organization that you'll be working through in the month of September. Make sense? Now, in your sixth position, that's the latter half of September, so that's the next 2 weeks of September. Not this 2 weeks, but the next 2 weeks after that. In love, you're still doing this. I feel like you are just being stubborn, some of you. You're just being stuck. You're just like, I'm not moving. I don't know what to do, and I'm not moving because I can't see it, right? So in the latter 2 weeks, you have your swords up. You're like ready to move, but you're waiting for the right answer, and you feel like you can't see it. You feel like you don't have all the information. But Spirit always wants to say with this card, you do have enough information. You just need to make the decision, because the reason it feels like this way, the left way feels just as much as the right way feels. Like one doesn't feel more than the other, and that's why you're feeling like, I don't know which one to do, right? I don't know which decision to make. It's because they're both right. You can see down the line where if you make this decision, this will probably happen. If you make this decision, this will probably happen, right? And so you can stay in the stalemate, but they want to say that you have enough information to be able to move forward in love. But it's not going to go anywhere until you make the decision. And sometimes that means being tough with the loved ones around you. Sometimes that means actually saying what you want. I know you Taurians don't often do that. You wait and you wait and you wait, and then you get upset, and then you say, but you're already all upset about it and you're all mad, right? They're saying you don't have to get to that point. You are just as valuable in this relationship, and I'm talking about people that are in relationships. You are just as valuable in this relationship as they are. So your opinion and your wants and your needs matter just as much as their needs matter. You need to remember that and love yourself that much, okay? Now, in your 7th position, this is your fear. Your fear is, will I ever get that new start? For some of you, will that person ever come in? Am I ever going to have new beginnings with someone? Am I ever going to have it where it's a little bit easier and we can fill the cup together and the emotions are really with the both of us, not just me giving or not just them giving, right? That's just a fear. That's just a fear. That's some of you. For others of you that are in a relationship, your fear is, can we get to this point again? Can we get to that point where we knew each other once and we really admired, respected, and loved, like emotionally, romantically loved each other? That's just a fear. Remember, a fear is there to remind you of what you don't want. You know what you don't want. Now focus on what you want, okay? Now, for some of you, yay! In the 8th position, this is the way a loved one will be viewing you and dealing with you. So some of you do have someone coming in. Please, please, please look at this so that this person can come in, right? This is the King of Wands. So this person is a very passionate, very directed, very ambitious, is very fun. They know how to work hard and play hard. That's how they roll. That's how they do it, okay? They come with a lot of passion, a lot of drive, a lot of ambition behind them. They're a lot of energy, right? But they're fun. And because it's a king, they're fun and balanced. They know when to be serious and they know when to be fun, okay? So this could be an Aries, a Sagittarius, or a Leo. And oddly enough, I'm feeling Sagittarian for some reason. A little bit of Leo, but I am feeling Sagittarian. So for some of you, this person is coming in. For others of you, your partner is seeing you this way, or the universe is seeing you this way. Very driven, very ambitious, very passionate about what you do, right? So for those of you that the universe is asking you to be this way, it's so that you can get those things that you're wanting. It's so that your love can come in. It's so that you can have passion about this again. Because some of you have been in a space where, I don't know if that love's ever going to come in. Is that ever really going to happen? I've been kind of quiet and working on it, but I don't really see anything. And they're trying to say, yes, if you get into this space of passion and excitement and vigor, that's where that, how do I say this? That's where that resonance of that person is. Make sense? So in your 9th position, this is your hopes and dreams, but to me, this is the outer realm of the energy that you're bringing in. That's the Chariot. That's saying, take the reins and take a direction and move in it, because you're in charge of your life. You came here with free will to have the experiences that you wanted to have, not the ones that you think they want you to have, not the ones you think Spirit wants you to have, not the ones you think your mom or your dad or your loved ones. You are in charge of your life. And so what they're saying is, when you get through this, you will be directed and you will get the things that you want. All you have to do is get into that direction and say what you want, right? And this is in love. So it's funny because a lot of you on the physical level, on the like material possessions in the world that you create around you, you are masters at that. But when it comes to love, it's like, it's almost like you don't want to say what you really, really want, right? And I'm not sure why that confusion is. They're saying absolutely be directed. Say what you want, expect it, know it, and it's going to come, okay? So in your 10th position, this is the overall outcome of what you'll be working through in the month of September. You have the Four of Swords. So obviously you've come with a lot of experience. Look at that. And you're tired. You're overwhelmed. You still have old energy you're carrying. And you still have this issue that you've put down. You know you got to pick it up at some time, but you've put it down and you've rested. And that's what they're saying. In the month of September, you're going to like, and you'll know, because this situation is like, okay, if you've done this, if you've taken the situation from all angles and tried all ways, then know that you've done all you can and it's time to rest it. Because when you rest it, that's when the surprises come in. That's when those beautiful miracles come in. That's when those magical things come in, right? That's when all that comes in. But sometimes you have to rest the energy. So that's what you'll be dealing with in the month of September. This is like a big thing for you. If you can just get through this, if you can get unstuck from here and get through this, and this is not easy. What I'm asking you to do is not easy, but I know you can do it. You're a Taurian. You can do anything. But if you can get through this and let go of this energy, you have a lot of things coming, okay? You do have that 10 of coins coming. You know, you Taurus, you're really, really good at manifesting, so it looks like your possessions are going to be on point. All right, my gorgeous ones, thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. We have gone from 1,000 to 11,000 now in 5.5 weeks. It's just crazy. I couldn't do this without you. I appreciate and love each and every one of you. I couldn't do my purpose without you. So thank you. Love you, love you, love you. Bye.